ever wonder why people are obsessed with notebooks? I used to think it was just an aesthetic thing. Nice leather covers, fancy covers, Instagram vibes. But then I found out that the right notebook can literally change your life. And I'm not the only one either. Even Peter McKinnon is obsessed with notebooks. So what's the big deal? Why do some people swear by their notebooks while others let them collect dust? And if you've ever bought a notebook and never used it, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to break down the obsession, the different types of notebooks people actually use, and most importantly, how to set up a notebook that you'll actually use. We live in a digital world, so why do people still love analog notebooks? Turns out it's more than just nostalgia or aesthetics. The obsession goes deeper. It's more than just an obsession with to-do lists and fancy notebooks. Here's what's actually going on. In a world of endless tabs and notifications, a notebook gives you something rare: control. No pings, no algorithms, just you, your thoughts, and the space to decide what matters. Notebooks offer a sense of control in this chaotic digital world. Notebooks give you the power to choose where your focus goes. Every time you write something down, a goal, a plan, even a quick to-do list, you're making a statement about who you are and who you want to become. It's not just ink on paper. It's a reflection of who you're choosing to be. Are you someone who takes action? Someone who reflects? Someone who creates intentionally? That notebook becomes a mirror of that vision, one page at a time. They're identity tools. And physically writing doesn't just shape your identity. It boosts memory, clarity, and creativity. There's real science behind it. Writing by hand helps your brain retain information better than typing. It forces you to slow down, process your thoughts, and gain more mental clarity. And emotionally, it's powerful. Getting your thoughts out of your head and onto paper helps you calm down, reflect, and make sense of things. It's like self-therapy. And the best part, you can take it anywhere. It also provides a micro dopamine hit. The act of writing something down and crossing it off creates a reward loop that apps just can't replicate. It's not about the paper, it's about the promise. Focus, clarity, and control. But here's the catch. Not all notebooks are created equal. And most people buy the wrong one for what they actually need. Because the truth is, one notebook can't do it all. And it shouldn't. Not every notebook has to do everything. In fact, trying to force one notebook to do it all is like using a hammer to fix a watch. Different tools have different jobs, and your notebooks should too. You can have a notebook just for planning your daily tasks, goals, and to-dos. Then maybe you've got a notebook for journaling. I know that journaling might sound intimidating for some people, but you should see it as a way to offload what's in your head. Thoughts, feelings, random reflections, you're just getting them out so they stop bouncing in your head. You don't have to even share it. You don't have to overthink it. It can be one sentence, a brain dump, a rant, a little win from your day. The way I journal is very simple. Each day, I log the thing that happened that day and that means something to me. For instance, on the 7th of June, I went to a restaurant with my family. That day, I parked my car and suddenly it starts raining. So I grabbed my youngest daughter and I ran as fast as possible to the restaurant. While running in the rain, my youngest daughter covers my head with her little hands. This is a moment I always want to remember, and I do this by logging this meaningful moment in my journal. Next up is the capture notebook. It's where you should capture all your ideas, random thoughts, doodles, and quotes. There's no pressure to make it fancy. Just get it out of your head and onto paper before it disappears. And if you want to take it to the next level, try a commonplace notebook. Weird name, I know, but think of it like a personal library of wisdom. It's where you save anything you want to remember. That one idea from a podcast, a meaningful quote from a book, life lessons, all in one place. Over time, it becomes the superpower reference book written by you. So now you've got the right notebook for the right job. Awesome. But here's where a lot of people get stuck. They buy the notebook, maybe even two. Then it just sits there, blank, staring at them. So let's fix that. The truth is, your notebook should work for you and not the other way around. Most people overcomplicate the setup of a notebook with perfect layouts, color coding, fancy spreads, but that's a trap. A messy notebook that's used beats a perfect one that's blank. 3 or 4 months ago, I bought this beautiful notebook from the brand William Hanna, but I only started using it recently because I didn't want to waste the paper with ugly layouts. I wanted to have the perfect setup, but the truth is, there is no perfect setup. And that's okay as long as it works for you. Treat the notebook as a personal, functional tool and not a showpiece. So here are my notebook setup tips and recommendations. But to really make the most of these tips, it helps to first understand my system. For work, I use 2 main notebooks. The first is what I call my capture notebook. This is where I write down meeting notes, brainstorm ideas, and write down every to-do that comes to mind, big or small. Then I transfer those tasks into a second notebook, my to-do notebook. Now, you might be wondering, why write down my to-dos twice? Well, the capture notebook gets messy. Tasks get buried under new notes every day. So I regularly review it, pull out the actual tasks, and rewrite them in my to-do notebook, where I can prioritize and keep track of everything in one place. That's my work setup. My personal notebook system is similar. I have a capture notebook where I write down thoughts, interesting quotes, to-dos, and random ideas. Then I go through it and decide what needs action. If it's a task, I'll mark it with TD to remind myself to add it to my to-do list later on. If it's a quote or an idea I want to remember, I copy it into my commonplace notebook, which is basically my personal knowledge library. So the first step is to decide how many notebooks you will be using. I recommend using at least 2 notebooks. One to capture everything, thoughts, ideas, tasks, quotes, or whatever's on your mind. And one notebook where you organize and prioritize your tasks in one place. And if you're someone who likes collecting insights, I recommend a third notebook for storing quotes, concepts, and ideas you want to revisit later on. And if you only have one notebook, no problem. Just save the last 10 to 20 pages for your running to-do list. Step 2. Create a simple index. Save the first 3 or 4 pages. Label the top of the page with index. Write your titles on the left and page numbers on the right. Number the pages of your notebook. This will save your time and make your notebook much more useful. Step 3. Let it be messy at first. Don't try to make it perfect. The goal is to start. Use symbols that make sense to you. They will help you quickly scan your notes later. For example, I use a square checkbox for tasks and I tick it when it's done. I use a star to mark events or important notes. Great! You've got the notebook and set it up. Now, how do you make sure it doesn't collect dust? Here's how to keep your notebook from becoming another habit that you abandon. Set a 5-minute daily check-in in the morning or night. What I usually do when I'm finished working is scan my notebook to make sure that I've listed all my to-dos in my to-do notebook. I highly recommend anchoring this daily check-in to an existing habit, like morning coffee or end-of-day review. Use your notebook as a brain external hard drive. Dump your thoughts and frustrations in your notebook. Don't aim for perfection. If it helps, it works. Keep your notebook within reach and in sight, not buried in a drawer. If it's hidden in a drawer, it won't get used. So make it easy to grab your notebook. Review your notebook weekly. Flip through, relive the meaningful moments that you've captured. We don't fall in love with notebooks because of the paper or the aesthetic. We are drawn to what they represent. Space to breathe, space to think, space to build a version of ourselves. By now, you know how to pick the right notebook, how to set it up in a way that fits your actual life, and most importantly, how to make it a tool that serves you, not something you serve. But there's another unexpected benefit I discovered. Using a notebook like this didn't just help me manage my tasks, it helped me break free from something that used to drain my time and focus every single day. Doom scrolling. Watch this next video where I show you how this simple system can actually reduce your screen time, help you take control of your attention, and break free from that endless scrolling habit without relying on willpower alone.